Alright, here we go. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Inclusion Matters podcast with Inclusion Pro Wrestling. Tonight, we are blessed by a rock star. Yes, rock star royalty here, Mr. Alexander Monroe.
Oh,
Again,
thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. I wouldn't say much of the royalty stuff, but I try my best.
and again, we're joined by the ever so he thinks he's a wrestling god, so I've got to introduce him as the Messiah. But to me, he's just as flashy as that little hot orange juice on AEW. That's right, Orange Cassidy. So he's he's one of those people that it's just a little okay.
He's a little okay.
He's the crippled Messiah. I, on the other hand, am the man that every woman dreams about, every woman desires. I'm like the rock star god here. I am the heartbreaker.
Oh man, I see that.
So, Mr. Rockstar, why don't you start by letting us know a little bit about you, where you're from, how long you've been in the business.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm originally from Daytona Beach, Florida. I grew up there most of my life. Actually, the first 8 years of my life, and then I've moved to Tennessee. And then I've pretty much been in Tennessee ever since. I've been in the business for about 6 years. I started when I was 18 years old. They told me that was the best time to start, so that's when I started. And I started with Ricky Morton's school. So I heard Ricky Morton had a school, and I trained with Ricky Morton for a while. And then with Ricky Morton, he brought guys in like Crazy Steve, which I still train with today. He brought guys like Jimmy Valiant in, and I learned a lot from Jimmy Valiant, Manny Fernandez, Bobby Eaton. And then I broke away from that for a while. And then about 2 years ago, I graduated from the JPWA, which is a school run by Dr. Tom Pritchard and Glenn Jacobs here in Knoxville. And yeah, I've just been hitting the road ever since and just living the dream, really. Living that rock star dream,
Very awesome. And talk about a list of teachers.
Yes, yeah, and
Man.
they were all great. They're all great. Very wonderful people. Very wonderful people.
I think we're going to dig in right there. What's it like to train? I'll let Nathan. I'll let the Messiah ask the other two. I want to get right into it. What's it like training with that crazy Steve? I mean,
there's a reason he's called Crazy Steve. It's he's yeah.
Stories.
Oh yeah. No, training with Steve is fun. He teaches in a way that like a lot of kids can understand and grasp it. He's a very hands-on teacher, which is what I really like. He breaks down if you mess something up, he helps you break it down so you can understand and fix it, which really helps. And yeah, just a very swell guy. He's very patient with you as well. He enjoys people picking his brain quite a lot, which I do. I pick his brain quite a bit. I actually just had a match with him a couple weeks ago at a grand opening at one of our friends' schools called Net Pro Studios, and it was one of the most fun matches I've had in ages. I couldn't have been more happy with it. And yeah, just a very swell guy. Steve is wonderful. One of the best teachers I think anybody could learn from, or he just has a plethora of knowledge in the bit of the business and in professional wrestling in general. Yeah, love Steve.
And Steve actually, for a lot of people that don't know this, means a lot for the Inclusion Pro Wrestling part of this, because and he said this in interviews, so this is okay to say, he's actually partially blind.
Yes, he is. He is blind. Yes, that is very true. He is very blind. But
so I mean,
go ahead. No. I'm just saying, but that doesn't stop him, and it amazes me because, like, when you watch him or learn from, like, it's just like, what? Like, there's no way he's blind. There's just no way. But yes, it is very true. But that doesn't stop him from pursuing his dream. of professional wrestling, and that's a big role model for me. That like whatever happens in your life, like don't let it stop you. You know what I mean? Like it can't stop you. If you really want to pursue that, you go for it. And that's what I like about Steve. That's one of the biggest things I really like about Steve.
Absolutely, and he actually, he's an inspiration to us because that's kind of one of the things that me personally, and I know Tony feels the same way. That's kind of what we believe too is never let anything hold you back.
Mm-mm.
You know.
Oh yeah, you can't.
So what was it like training with like Glenn Jacobs and Dr. Tom?
Dr. Tom again is another very hands-on guy. Glenn Jacobs wasn't there as much as Dr. Tom, but Dr. Tom also gave he gave a lot of good advice for us young wrestlers. Which I think is missing today. A lot of the advice that is given from Dr. Tom. He also liked to sit down and like watch matches with us and promos and just kind of talk us through how it's all said and done, how to watch a match, how how many times you should watch a match, starting from watch it from a babyface standpoint, watch it from a heel standpoint, and watch it from the ref standpoint. And he just how a match is supposed to work depending on the situation of it, and just the psychology behind professional wrestling and the knowledge that Dr. Tom had to get you to the next level is just it was mind-blowing for me. That was another one that I really enjoyed learning from, and I couldn't have been any more happier to join the JPWA and learn from Dr. Tom as much as I did. Very swell guy as well. I really liked learning from Tom.
All right, Heartbreaker, you got a question?
Okay, well, let's just get right into it, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's get into your top 5. Do we want male or do we want indie male? Let's go top 5 male athletes of all time, in your opinion.
My top 5 male athletes of all time. So number 1, I have to put Randy Orton. Randy Orton is number 1. He was who I really first watched when I started watching wrestling and has been a fan ever since. I like the way he works. I just like the psychology behind Randy Orton. He's methodical. He paces a match very well. He's just super fun to watch. If I had to pick number 2 would have to be the exotic Adrian Street would be number 2. What I like about Adrian Street though is he may have that quacky character about him, but when he's in the ring, he's all business. And he did that at a time where something like that was just very it wasn't natural. And he just said, you know what? I'm going to take what's unnatural and make it natural. And he made his own rules with it. And that's what I liked about Adrian Street. And he's one of my role models as well. Like a lot of things that I do in the ring, I try and mold from Adrian Street. So that's a big number 2. Another influence and a big number 3. And this is another big one, but I get a lot of flack from it, but I don't care. Chris Benoit is a number 3. I really enjoy watching Chris Benoit. He's quick, but he's also very, what's the word I'd like to look for? He's very explosive in the ring. And that's something you don't really see a lot in wrestling today. And that's another influence that whenever I'm in the ring, I try and put towards my matches is a lot of Chris Benoit. Phenomenal talent, phenomenal guy to watch and learn. Number 4, I have to place Christian. I think he's very underrated and just a very underrated wrestler. I've always enjoyed watching Christian. Let's see. And number 5, who would I put as number 5? Man, that's a really good one. I guess Rey Mysterio would have to be number 5. I'd have to put Rey Mysterio as number 5. For a guy his size, and you know, when I was also a kid, I looked up to Rey Mysterio as well because I was tiny, and I was, you know, my family is super super tall, so I felt like I was Rey Mysterio in a way too, and he was, and I was big into superheroes, and Rey Mysterio looks like a superhero, and when he's in the ring he just feels like a superhero, so that kind of grasped my attention a lot with wrestling as well. And it made what seems like an impossibility a reality. And yeah, those are my top 5 talents that I enjoy watching, and a lot that I can say that influenced me with my work in the ring as well.
It's a very good list.
Oh, thank you.
So who were your wrestling heroes growing up?
My wrestling heroes? Oh
Yeah.
man. Well, the one I can really name off the top of my list was number 5 with Rey Mysterio. Like I said, I you know, big superhero person, and when you think of something like that, you don't think it's a possibility, and then you look at Rey Mysterio, and he's everything that every kid dreams of being, and that's a big hero for me. Another one was Ric Flair. Ric Flair was another superhero for me. I loved watching Ric Flair. Everything he did, he meant. Everything he did had a purpose, and he was just in a league of his own. I mean, it's Ric Flair. How can he not be your superhero? You know. If you want to talk about a rock star, I think Ric Flair is the epitome of what a rock star really is. And then, another good one. You know what? I actually think that's it. Those were my top 2 big ones I really looked upon growing up, was Ric Flair and Rey Mysterio.
Very cool. And I have to say, I've watched some of your matches doing my research for tonight, and you have some of Ric Flair's like mannerisms, like the way you play to the crowd, and
that's a lot of the Ricky Morton teaching. The one thing Ricky Morton says is the crowd is a part of you. So if the crowd can't get into, if you can't get into what you're doing, then the crowd can't get into what you're doing, and that's a big part of what we do. The crowd comes in to see you, so if you can't give your best, then you know, why be in it, you know. That's big Ricky Morton thing, is the crowd is your canvas. You paint the canvas for the crowd. Everything you do is for them. And that's what I feel like a lot of the guys today are kind of missing, is a lot of that crowd interaction. I don't know if you guys see it as well, but that's just my thing. I think crowd interaction is the biggest thing in professional wrestling today, and it needs to be. But yeah, that's a big Ricky Morton thing, is crowd. Everything you do has to be towards the crowd, because you got to give them their money's worth. You got to give them something they can't forget.
absolutely. And I do agree with that, actually. All right, Heartbreaker, you got a question?
What are your post-match, or your pre-match and your post-match routines?
Pre-match, I kind of like to get in the zone. I just put some headphones on, listen to just whatever music plays, do some stretches, kind of meditate, get my mind into it, and then so that way I'm not nervous. I'm not thinking about what's gonna happen, what good or bad is gonna happen from it. I get focused. That really helps me focus. And then post-match, I don't really do a lot after post matches. We just talk about really that's a good question. Post match is not much of a post match ritual, I guess I can say. Just we all thank each other that we're safe and sound after the match is said and done, and later on, and just talk about what we think we could have done better, and what that's pretty much it. Not a whole lot of post-match stuff. Just a lot of sweating and hurting, really.
Gotcha. So, who's the biggest name you've ever wrestled?
Actually, the only biggest name I actually wrestled was Crazy Steve, to be quite honest. I did do a tag match with Ricky Morton, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Not really much big names. Crazy Steve was really the first. But he's been asking for it for quite a while, and it finally happened.
Nice.
And again, I could not have been any happier. He couldn't have been any happier. We both had fun, and it was just it was an experience for sure. And I would absolutely gladly do it again, 100%.
And what a couple of honors to be able to wrestle somebody like Crazy Steve and then tag team with Ricky Morton.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
oh yeah.
Oh,
So much fun. So much fun. Both were such an honor and a blessing in their own rights. And I couldn't have been any more proud of myself knowing that they both were happy with what I portrayed inside and outside of that ring. They couldn't have been any happier, and that made me very happy with myself. And yeah, that's really the big two names that I've really shared a ring with.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, some of these in this next question should be obvious. So
Okay.
we're just gonna go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Top 5 tag teams of all time.
Top 5 tag teams of all time. Obviously, number 1 has to be the Rock and Roll Express. I mean, you can't deny the every time they came out, that crowd was on fire. You can't. I mean, everything that the Rock and Roll Express has done has probably paved the way for everybody of professional wrestling. So, and then again, I was also trained by Ricky, so I look up to Ricky Morton and Robert, and they've had some of, I think, the best tag team matches ever in the history of wrestling in general. Number two has to be Midnight. Midnight Express has to be number 2. Again, some of the greatest rivalry with the Rock and Roll Express, great storytellers. Bobby Eaton's such a wonderful human being. And without Jim Cornette and just all of that, it couldn't have been the Midnight Express that we know of today. Number three best tag team. I'm gonna have to go with the Von Erichs. I really enjoyed watching the Von Erichs. They were all just wonderful, tremendous, talented family. Number 4, I would have to put the Hardy Boys. Again, the Hardy Boys was the tag team I grew up with when I was a kid. So everybody was big on the Hardy Boys. So I hopped on the Hardy Boys train and have loved the Hardy Boys. A lot of great feuds with, Edge and Christian and the Dudley Boys. And then number 5, I would have to probably place the Horsemen. The Horsemen I would have to place as yes, I liked the Horsemen. There couldn't have been a better pick of 4 people. Ric Flair, Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, Barry Windham. You just couldn't have picked 4 better heels at that time, unmatched as well. And just all the psychology and all of the wrestling knowledge that was placed within those 4 that made the Horsemen what they were. Just unbeatable. Untouchable. And I had to say those would probably have to be my top 5 Mount Rushmore or of tag team wrestling.
Wow. Well, much love to one of his trainers, but he threw the other one in Decay under the bus.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no Decay. No Decay.
See, but I'm gonna bail him out here. That was kind of a no-win situation for him because either way he went,
it was bad, yeah. But then you got to pick a Decay, or a Menagerie. You have to pick. So
yeah, exactly.
If I really had to pick the 2, I'd probably have to go with Menagerie because of Abyss.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So that would probably have to be my big pick. Would be Menagerie over Decay any day.
Although I'm really liking the chemistry with him and Black Tarus, though.
Oh yes, it fits very well. It's I wouldn't say it's a good. I don't want to say he's a replacement for sure, but he's a really good fit for Decay.
Yep.
He really fills in the shoes of Abyss, if that makes sense. He fits right. It's like as soon as they took Abyss out and put Black Taurus, it's like nothing changed, which is a very good compliment for Black Taurus.
Yeah, and the other part to me was now Rosemary's not, solely with them, and they're still
yeah, and they're still just as big as ever. I'm kind of upset they took away Rosemary, but she's has success of her own with Taya Valkyrie, which is kudos to them. But yeah, it won't be the same without Rosemary for sure.
No, that's So I'm gonna change this one up since you've had more than one trainer.
Yes.
What's the advice that the best advice your trainers have ever given you, and do you still use that advice today?
I think one of the best advice. There's so many, but I'm gonna try and pick one from each. Ricky Morton's big advice that I took from him was you can never be afraid to be afraid. And like wrestling is all about fun, and I think that's what's missing in professional wrestling today. And with the not being afraid, like just don't be afraid to be who you are inside the ring. Whatever you want to portray inside that ring, that is who you want to be out of this thing that we call life. And whatever fantasy you want to fulfill, that's your fantasy inside that ring. And that was the biggest thing Ricky Morton preached is that wrestling needs to be fun. That's what this business is all about, is just having fun. The biggest one I learned from Tom that he preached was that we want to think, shoot, but work it. So we want people to go home knowing that what we did was real and a reality. Everybody knows now. They all have their remarks of, oh, it's fake. Oh, it's predetermined. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. But if we do a well enough job and have people second guess, then it keeps them sitting in the seats to double get like, oh man, he really got hurt on that one. Oh man, he really hates that guy. And it keeps the magic alive. And that's really the big thing that Tom Pritchard preached, was keeping the magic alive in professional wrestling. And Steve, man, what can I really pick from Steve? There's so much that I could pick from Steve, but it's hard to narrow down one. I think Steve is the same way. Just make wrestling what you like. Take wrestling what you want wrestling to be. Make it what you think wrestling should be, and just be yourself. Really, that was the biggest thing from everybody, was just be yourself in the ring, because if the people don't believe in you, then you don't believe in you, and that's a big turnoff for professional wrestling. And that's really helped me a lot too with professional wrestling, because I am a very shy person outside of the ring, and just that rock star feel and the energy from the crowd, there's nothing that matches anything like that. So all of that has helped me progress in my career, and has helped me reach obstacles and achievements that I don't think I ever could have done. Thanks to all three of those guys. And yeah, that has to be probably the biggest compliments or life lessons from all three of them that I can take away from their training.
Very good advice.
Yeah.
So wait, you mean to tell me I've been a wrestling fan for 30 years and I just now found out wrestling's fake?
I know. It's mind-blowing.
Really?
Right? Yeah, it's mind-blowing. I know.
Great way to put that.
Mind-blowing.
Wow, my mind was blown.
trust me, it blew me away too.
Wow.
It's still real to us.
And isn't that a wrestler no-no, the F word? Isn't that supposed to be a
it is a big no-no, because to me, I don't think it is. Like
that's what I thought too. But anyways, let's move on. And this should be an interesting top 5 too, because they've been interesting so far. So let's throw it at them. Top 5 women of all time.
Oh man, top 5 women of all time. That's a good one. That's a really good one. Man, how do I narrow down 5? Because there are so many of them. There are so many good ones. Well, let's start with number 1 that I think everybody can probably, well, not everybody, but a lot of people can agree on. Really, the first diva I think I really watched, AJ Lee, was I think has to be number 1. I really enjoyed watching AJ Lee. Whatever predicament she was in, whether she was babyface or heel, she owned that character, and made it her own. And every match was memorable. I don't think watching her there was ever a bad one. She was always very fun and entertaining to watch. As short as her career was, but she was super enjoyable. I think she's really the first one I could really just sit down and enjoy watching without, feeling that kind of regret of watching women, because like a lot of guys don't watch women's wrestling. So when I watched AJ Lee, I was like, man, she can fit in with the guys, So AJ Lee has to be number 1. Number 2, and this is a really strange one, Alundra Blaze, I'd have to pick as number 2. It was a big, she was like maybe the Hulk Hogan of the time for women's wrestling. And then she also had that little stint, with WCW and throwing away the trash, or the title in the trash. That was a really big step. And I think a lot of women at the time wouldn't do it. So, Alundra Blaze paved the way to kind of make that bad girl attitude and that, that babyface attitude from women's wrestling today. And that's why I'd have to choose Alundra Blaze at number 2. Number 3, man, you got to go Lita. That was everybody's, heartthrob back in the day too, was Lita. But not only, it wasn't just her looks that really got everybody's attention. She, as well as I would say as AJ Lee, fit in with the guys. She got her hands down and dirty, was not afraid to, do what she needed to do. And that really spoke out to me watching Lita. She did something different that no other woman at that time was doing. So yeah, Lita's a hard number 3. Number 4, who would I put as number 4? I would have to say Natalya would be a big number 4. She's been through a lot of ups and downs and is still going strong today in the business. And again, whatever role she's given, she owns. And I always enjoy watching Natalya. Big Hart family fan myself. So she's a good number 4. And number 5. Man, I think I'm stumped on number 5. I don't know how I can. I would have to probably put Trish Stratus as number 5. Trish Stratus was number 5. And that's my Mount Rushmore of women's talent. Yeah, I think I'm content with that. The big number 5.
That's a great list.
Oh, thank
you.
But
I've always had a question about the Alundra Blaze thing, and I thought about it the other night. Everybody's upset at Alundra Blaze for throwing the championship in the garbage, and rightfully so.
Right.
But nobody talks about the fact that Shane Douglas did that to the NWA championship when he rechristened it the ECW championship.
Yes, they sure did. Well, but then again, also with, as I was saying before, like a lot, that's why it was hard for number 5, for number 5 women's wrestling. A lot of guys don't watch women's wrestling. So I guess for the guys, it was just like, oh man, that's gonna make up for the big feud and yada yada yada. Where with the girls, it was like, oh man, well that was kind of, I don't know why she would do something like that. Like why do they have, you know, a woman doing something that guys should be, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
like that's probably the biggest turnoff for, but I think it was just as wonderful as if the guys did it, because then again, like I said at the time, no other woman would do something like that. And she took it up and, you know, stepped up to the plate, and the rest is history. That's why I like the Lunger Blaze. She took those chances that nobody else could or would.
Absolutely.
Mm.
All right, Heartbreaker, you got a question? Every time I ask it like that, I think I'm talking to a trucker on a TV or something.
No, please ask away.
All right. Well, I know that Mr. Messiah and I love asking this question, so we're just going to get right down to it.
Okay.
In your personal opinion, who is the best wrestler turned actor?
Wrestler turned actor. Man, that's a really good one. A wrestler turned actor. Well, I mean, The Rock, really. I enjoy watching more of The Rock's movies than I do The Miz or John Cena or any other ones. So I guess my obvious choice would have to be The Rock. I've watched more of The Rock's movies than I would have any other ones, really.
It's a good answer.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna hit you with a hard one, and this
Okay.
one, don't worry if you get stumped on this one, because some people do.
Okay.
If you could book a WrestleMania card from any generation, no
Yep.
questions asked,
Hmm.
6 matches, who would be on the card and why?
Man, this is a really good question, because I talked with a buddy recently about some really good dream matches, and we talked about one that everybody has been talking about, and we talked about having Shawn Michaels in his prime versus AJ, like TNA AJ Styles. We thought that would be one of the best matches to watch, just because of the psychology between Shawn Michaels and just the athleticism from AJ Styles at the time. So we were talking about that and thought that would be one of the best matches of a WrestleMania dream match history. Another one we had talked about was Eddie Guerrero back in Japan against who did we say? It was Eddie Guerrero in Japan against Samoa Joe. We thought that would have been another good one.
Oh,
Yeah, we
that's
thought
a
or even Benoit with Samoa Joe. We thought that would have been one of the most brutal matches you could possibly ever watch, because both of them are very hard hitting and very explosive, as we were talking about before. So we thought that if we put Benoit and Samoa Joe, it would have been like watching a Walter match unwind. Yeah.
a good comparison, actually.
Oh yeah. So that was another one we talked about. And I'm trying to remember who we put New Japan Eddie with. I don't remember who it was, but he was another one on the top of the list. Let's see, who would be another dream match I would really like to watch. I feel like MJF and Ric Flair in his prime would be a good one, because they both have very well similarities. I feel like both of them would feed off each other very well, because they both play that kind of cocky gimmick, and both can talk on the microphone like it's nobody's business. Really enjoy watching that. I feel like that would be a super fun dream match as well. And I would like to see, what's another good dream match? I think my last dream match I would put on would be Owen Hart and let's see, Owen Hart, and I would have to probably put, who would I put with Owen Hart? Yeah, this is a tough one. This is a very tough one. You guys are stumping me right now. I would probably put Owen Hart with you know what? I'd like to see him with Eddie. I think I'd like to see him with New Japan Eddie, him and Owen. I think that'd be a really good one. And I think that would really be my WrestleMania card of dream matches right there.
That's a good card.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And it's crazy because most of that we were just talking about. Like I said, I was talking with a buddy of mine because we were talking about a lot of Benoit and Eddie and AJ Styles at the time. TNA AJ Styles back in his prime around like 2005 or 6. That's who it was. It was New Japan Eddie versus Kurt Angle we wanted to see. That's what it was.
Oh.
Yeah. But 2006 Kurt Angle. So when he was on top of the scene.
Wow.
Yeah, that's who it was.
That's a really good card.
Yeah.
Really, yeah. Yeah, I would pay good money for that card. Okay. Let's go a little easier, I guess. So what are your hobbies that you enjoy doing?
Man, so obviously with every wrestler you have to work out. So I work out on the daily, but then when I have my free time, I'm more of a family man. So really I enjoy hanging out with my pets, like sitting down playing video games every now and then. And then the rock star you got to listen to the music. Yeah, you got to listen to the music. That's pretty much just about it. Not a whole lot that goes on with Alex. Just family, video games, and got to listen to the rock and roll, man.
Okay, so I have to ask for the fans out there, what's your favorite video game right now?
My favorite video game right now. Oh, that's a really good one. I recently just did the new Star Wars game, and that really grasped my attention. The Jedi Survivor. I'm a big Star Wars guy, so I've been playing that quite a bit. And right now, I've been playing Aliens. I got the new Aliens, and I've been putting a lot of downtime on Aliens as well. Man, I'm just all over the place with video games right now. Yeah, I know there's so much. There's just so much. But yeah, that was my big one. Was the new Star Wars one. That's the one I put a lot of time in.
Very nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So my other question is, who are some of your biggest rivals?
My biggest rivals?
Yeah.
Like, can you kind of elaborate on rivals? Like who? My top 5 rivalries in wrestling?
Yeah, or maybe not a top 5, but just some of your biggest rivals that you went, man, I had some good matches with that guy or.
Okay. So there's a lot of guys that I grew up, or I wouldn't say grew up, but that I went through with Ricky Morton school, and there's tons of guys that I can say I've had quite a few fantastic matches with. One of them has to be one of my good buddies, Jason Blythe. Me and him have some of the most hard-hitting matches I think we've ever had. And we're not afraid to just kill each other. And I think that and we always try to, I wouldn't say one up each other, but we always try to bring out the best of each other. And at the end of the day, we're always happy. There's never a match I say that we've had that I can say was terrible. All of them are fun. We always enjoy working each other. So he's one that I think I can have so much fun with no matter what we do. He's always fun to work with. Another good buddy of mine, again from Ricky Morton school, Draco. He's another one that kind of puts me to the limits, and I wouldn't say makes me do what I can't do, but he helps me do the things that I never thought I could do inside the wrestling ring. And the stories we tell are just so much fun. No matter what we're given, we always make the best of it. And we, just like me and Jason, we feed off each other very well. And he's another one that I think I never had any terrible matches with. Each one is just as fun than the next. Very fun guy to work. Let's see. I don't know if you guys another one from Ricky's school. Down at OVW right now, Luscious Lawrence.
Yep.
He's another fun one. I've always enjoyed wrestling. Me and him, whether it be his little comedic gestures or whatever, what have you, we always have fun. He's one of those that we try to one up each other no matter what. We always compete with each other every time we're in the ring. Who does what better? Who's better on the mic that night? Who's the better crowd reactor? Who's the better this? So he was always fun. And really just anybody I get in the ring with, I just have fun with. And just enjoy my time because they are one step closer to helping me make our dreams a reality. And so it's hard to narrow down who I really enjoy because I like working just period. Just being in the ring is just a dream of its own. And I'm happy each time I step in it and there's nothing like it.
My question about Luscious Lawrence is, how do you not get distracted by the leopard 70s pants that he wears out to the...
Not just that, but all the baby oil. Oh man.
Yep.
I can tell you, I can't tell you how many hours of washing clothes or washing gear I had to do just because of the baby oil and the glitter. That was always the worst. Oh, the baby oil and the glitter. Yeah.
So, I guess before I ask my question, I'm just going to make a comment.
Yes, go ahead.
Now, fans, ladies and gentlemen, remember, he said he lives in Tennessee.
Yep.
And he listens to rock and roll.
Yep.
And he lives in Tennessee.
Oh, I know.
Anybody else see a problem with that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's all country down here. Not for Alex. No. Not for me. It's all rock and roll. Nothing but. Nothing but.
Just a comment, he's a rock and roll boy in a country world down there, man. I applaud you for that, honestly.
Hey, I try my best. It's not easy.
But okay, so the question is, what advice would you have for an up and coming wrestler?
Man, the advice I have for an up and coming wrestler. That's a really good question. Just really, I think the biggest advice I could give to any upcoming wrestler, really just sit back and take it all in. Just soak it all in. Everything that you are given is knowledge that only make you grow and be better. And don't take it for granted. Like, don't take any of it for granted. The more you take it for granted, that doesn't get you anywhere in my book. And you just can't stop learning either. So that's that kind of draws into the sit back and soak it all in. Just never stop learning. Please never stop. Because the minute you stop learning, you're done with wrestling. So just learn from it what you can and take with you what you can is probably the biggest advice I can give to any up and coming fan. And it'll help them in the long run. I guarantee it. It'll help them make their dream a reality. I guarantee it.
So, top 5 indie male wrestlers.
Indie male wrestlers. Oh man. Oh, this is gonna be a tough one. Indie male wrestlers of all time. Well, let's see. Nick Gage would be up there. I like watching Nick Gage every now and then. Let's see. Oh man, this is a tough one. Because I'm not as heavily into the independent scene as I should, but let's see. So Nick Gage would be number 1. Number 2. This is a tough one. This is a very good one. I will say when he was Marty Scurll was another one I really like to watch. Let's see. I don't think I don't think Tyson Ducks is signed with anybody right now. Is he currently?
Not that I know of. No.
Okay. So I watch a lot of his wrestling. Um, phenomenal guy to watch. A lot of the stuff I try to implement in the ring, me and my buddies would study some of his technical stuff, and we would watch Tyson Ducks on YouTube and try and do some of his stuff. Go figure. But Tyson Ducks would be another one to watch. Let's see. I did like watching Mike Bennett. Mike Bennett was fun to watch. Let's see. That's a big one. Like I said, I'm not as heavily into the independent circuit as I need to be. So I'm gonna leave it at those four, or those 3 or 4. They're the biggest names right now, or were in independent circuit. But Tyson Ducks, I'm telling you, one of the most fun guys to watch. And Marty Scurll were one of my top 2 favorites.
Got ya.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so out of the big 4, what would be what is the promotion you're looking most forward to working for?
Really, any one. Like I said, each one will get me, is a bigger door to bigger things. So each one is a bigger opportunity, and each one, also gives just gives its own opportunities and bigger challenges ahead. So really, I'd like to work anywhere. Like any one would be just as fun, more fun than the other. I can't really pick. I think they're all equal, just as fun. So it's just wherever the road takes me, I guess. That's really the only answer I think I have for that. They're all my stage. You gotta work that rock star. They're all my stage.
I like that answer. So if you had a dream opponent, no questions asked, like if the promoter just told you pick them and we'll make it happen, who would it be and why?
Oh man, if I had to pick a dream opponent, oh man, I would really like, and I've mentioned his name a lot, and again, he's on one of my top lists. Chris Benoit would have to be one of the big ones I think I would have to pick. I just like his intensity, and I know that we could tell a really good story with what we both have to offer, and yeah, he'd be one of the biggest ones I think I'd ever want to wrestle is Chris Benoit.
Very nice.
Yes.
Let's keep going with that. So, if you had a dream tag team partner with the same parameters, who would it be and why?
Let's see. If I had to pick a tag partner, who would it be? Oh man. I think my tag partner would have to probably be Owen Hart. I'd like to pick Owen Hart as my tag partner. Owen Hart again, one of the best. I think, to me, in my opinion, is one of the best out of the Hart Foundation. I was always big on Owen. Very charismatic, very energetic, just in a league of his own. And I feel like the energy that, with my rock star gimmick, as I guess you can say, in his intensity, just being Owen would really mix well. And I think he'd be a really good pick for a tag team partner.
I like that one. It would remind me of like the new version of High Energy with him and like Coco Beware.
Yes. Oh yes. So those would. I feel like Owen would be a really good pick. Really good pick.
All right, Heartbreaker. Now that you're back, you got a question?
What is your thought, or what is your feelings on death matches?
My You know, I will sit there and watch them, but you couldn't pay me enough to do one. Never. I draw the line with most of the stuff they do. I could sit there and watch it all day and enjoy it, but you will never probably ever see me in one ever. Oh no, I'm too chicken to do stuff like that. Oh no, no. I'll draw the line with the light tubes and all that stuff.
Can't blame you there. Let's say it. From what I hear, those things burn pretty bad too when they break.
I'm sure. I think the most extreme I did was recently I did a hardcore match, and my opponent thought it would be a good idea to put these he had a bat that had what we call snapdragons, which is a little firework on it that when you throw it on the ground it explodes, and he super glued like 20 or 30 of them and hit me with it, and I think that's about as hardcore as I get. Yeah, that was about as hardcore as I got. That killed me, and I said no more of that, no more. No more.
So what's the craziest crowd you've ever wrestled in front of?
The craziest crowd. Oh man, a lot of the bar crowds are the craziest. Wrestling in bars are the craziest. They get very into it, whether they've had a few or not. They get very into it, and they're probably the most highly energetic with it. That's why I kind of I like them, but they can be very scary as well. Bar shows, they can. But yeah, that would probably have to be the most energetic and most interactive crowd that I've ever worked in front of. Is any bar. Just do a bar show.
Yeah, I think you would have to be careful at a bar show though, because like if you take one person off and they get a little too many in them, you could be having a problem in the parking lot later.
You do. It's happened. Not with me, but it has happened.
Wow.
And then there's another match that's going on outside.
All right. Well, I'll steal one of Messiah's because I'm better than him and he knows it. So
for now.
How did your finisher come to be?
So actually, my finisher actually came from Crazy Steve. We were training, and he thought it would be a great idea because he thought of the way I looked. He reminded him of Diamond Dallas Page, and he said, "Hey, instead of doing a DDT that everybody else does, why don't you implement a cutter and do it this way?" And it's a ripcord cutter, and he said it looks really well. It fits your character very well. And yeah, so Crazy Steve came with that idea. That was Crazy Steve's idea for my finisher. And I've only used, it's a recent one. I've only used it once or twice, but every time I have used it, the fans have loved it. So I can't complain. That's why he is where he is. But yeah, Steve came up with it.
Let's go back to the top 5 because we only think there's only like maybe 1 or 2 left that we haven't asked. Top 5 managers of all time.
Top 5 managers. Oh man, number 1, you got to give it to Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette's top of the list. Jim Cornette. Number 2, I would have to say Mr. Fuji would have to be number 2. Him and Yokozuna were, they were perfect fit. Let's see, number 3, I would have to say Miss Elizabeth. Miss Elizabeth would have to be number 3. Great manager. Number 4, let's see, who would I put as number 4? When Mr. Perfect was managing for a little while, I loved watching. I think he was unrivaled on the mic at the time. When he was with Ric Flair. And then number 5, Let's see, number 5. Good manager for number 5. Man, this is gonna be a tough one because there's so many greats, so many great managers. I'd have to put when $1 Million Man was managing for a while. I liked watching $1 Million Man.
That's a great list.
Yeah, but you gotta top it. You gotta top it with Jim Cornette. There's none other. You gotta top it with Jim Cornette.
All right, and I guess we'll round out the top 5 unless Messiah can think of another one. Let's do top 5 commentators.
Oh man, I just recently just talked with a buddy of mine. Number 1, my all-time favorite commentator is Joey Styles. Joey Styles is my absolute favorite commentator. The energy that he brought with the ECW crowd was unmatched. Then again, I like JR, but man, Joey Styles has to be up top. Obviously, now number 2 would have to be JR. He brought commentating to life, really, with the sports entertainment. Like, I think, and I know it sounds crazy that I put Joey Styles first, but I mean, really, without JR, I don't think commentating would be as fun or just as wild as it is. Number 3, Macho Man, when he commentated for a little bit, was so fun. Really enjoyed Macho Man Randy Savage. Number 4, I really liked what's his name? Marlo. He's on NXT right now.
Mauro Ranallo.
Yes, I really enjoyed watching listening to him on commentary. I think again he's very energetic as well. The Mamma Mia really got me. That really got me. And number 5 on commentary, man, we got to throw in the big man himself, Vince McMahon. I really liked when back in the early 90s when all the flashy characters started and Vince kind of made them as flashy as they were. So, yeah, those would have to be my top 5 favorite commentators. Like I said, Joey Styles, man, that's my man, Joey Styles.
And I think Joey Styles doesn't get a lot of love for the fact that he did most of the commentary in ECW by himself.
Yeah, by himself. Yeah, had nobody to feed off. That's probably why I put him on top of the list, because he had nobody to feed off of. Because ECW was like, it started off very small. They weren't that big. I mean, production-wise or just in general, they weren't as big. So that's why I think Joey Styles is just unmatched, like in a league of his own.
I completely agree. So, I'll ask my last question, which is, what's your next upcoming match?
So my next upcoming match will be here in a town called Rockwood, Tennessee. It's on August 5th. And it is a back-to-school show, so it's mostly just for the kids. Try, get them excited for that one last hoorah before they go back to school. So that will be my next upcoming match.
Very nice.
Yes. Super fun crowd too. That's another crowd I really enjoy.
And where can our fans find you on social media?
So you guys can follow me on Instagram under AlexMonroe_98. And of course, I am on Facebook as Alexander Monroe. So please follow me and like me on Facebook and then Instagram. Please.
Okay. All right. Well, that concludes the question and answer portion of this. Now it's time for updates and closing and all the other sponsor stuff that we have to cover by contract. So
okay, no, that's okay.
So again, we thank you for joining us this evening.
Oh, thank you guys for having me.
As far as the Inclusion Matters podcast is concerned, we thank Alex for coming on, And now for the Inclusion Pro Wrestling part of this, you know, our promotion, yes, our promotion as well, is starting to grow. You know,
Awesome.
we've got a few new secrets and surprises coming up that we're going to announce here very, very soon.
Oh,
Our
sweet.
supervising producer is actually out enjoying a rodeo tonight. That's why he wasn't joining us, so we can share the breaking news.
Okay.
But as far as everything else, you know, everything's going well.
Awesome.
So, Nathan, go ahead and do the last two sponsors, and we'll go from there.
Well, before I do that, I would like to say that when we do our benefit show, I think you would be perfect to come down if you're available.
Okay.
And just like what I talked about with like Crazy Steve, the inclusion is pro wrestling is for everybody, right? So like nobody's gonna be turned away.
Awesome.
Nobody's ever gonna be told that they can't do it.
Right.
You know. So we'll definitely keep you updated.
Okay, thank you guys so much.
And then our other two sponsors are the CARE program, which stands for Community Action Reaching Everybody. And you can get a hold of the lady that's in charge of that on Facebook under Becky Bernhardt.
Okay.
And Bruce Nichols Painting for all your painting, pressure washing, and lead removal needs.
Okay.
And you can find him on Angie's.
Oh, sweet. Awesome. I will definitely follow them and talk to them. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
All right. So again, we thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you guys for having me.
For myself and Hey Crippled Messiah, our producer keeps saying, our supervising producers keep saying, you're dogging his calls, you're dogging his appointments. He wants you to get spaded or neutered.
Sorry, I just can't bring myself to do it. It's too attached.
So with that being said, again, we thank everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
Thank you very much.